Well, here we go, everybody. Welcome to the Inland Sports Show on a Wednesday night. I'm Pep Fernandez. Really excited about this show tonight. If you like high school basketball, high school football, we're also going to talk some La Sierra University women's flag football. Yes, there's not a lot of college women's flag football teams out there, but we got one here in the city of Riverside. La Sierra University, the University of Redlands also has a team, so they are out there. I think Norco College has one, so it's really grown in popularity at the JC level and also like the Division III NAIA level for women's flag football. So we're going to check in with La Sierra University as well. So we got a lot to get to, and as we get into the highlights, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. We would really appreciate it. It helps us push out the show to an even bigger audience. All right, let's tip things off with some high school basketball. Oh, man, did we have a great game on Tuesday night in Citrus Belt League play. Redlands East Valley, the boys are off to a terrific start this season. They are now 18-3. They are 3-0 in the CBL, and they're coming off a buzzer beater against, well, the Cajon Cowboys. Man, was it a great game. And the Wildcats looking like a little bit of showtime. Great passing. Quentin Hopkins there. Daryl Bahamontes. And there was, with the basket and the foul, was London Towns. The Wildcats and the Cowboys, man, they would go back and forth all game long. And it would actually come down to the very end. We're just going to fast forward to the finish here. We're going to have more on this game on Sports Weekly on IEMG. So you can look for that. But there you can see the score. No lead was safe. It went down to the final possession. It was tied at 65, and that brings us to our Bass Athletics Play of the Week. Inland Sports. Well, here it is, tied at 65, final seconds. Cajon had the basketball. Oh, but a big time still. Ethan Munar, the steal. The finish, no, he can't get it, but there is Bahamontes to clean up the mess at the horn. That is your ball game. 67-65 the final score. What a finish between the Cowboys and the Wildcats in a bonus Bass Athletics Play of the Week. Head coach Mike Aranda fired up for this one. The Wildcats 18-3 overall on the season. Man, they're having a great year. They are 3-0 in the CBL. They got a big one coming up against Yucaipa on Thursday night, but right now, 3-0 on top of the CBL standings. A huge win for Redlands East Valley. After the game, we caught up with Coach Aranda to talk about that win and about the season. They won a league championship just a couple of years ago, but this is a very special team. In fact, he's got some players from that league championship team 2 seasons ago that are still playing on this year's team, and they're looking to bring home another Citrus Belt League title in 18-3. Any way you slice it, it's been a great year already for the Wildcats. Here is Coach Aranda.
Inland Sports.
We were just resilient. Beginning of the game, they kind of jumped on us. We weren't ready to play. We got down. We just fought back. It wasn't so much adjust this play, adjust this set. It was just play tough, play scrappy. We know anytime we play Cajon and Coach Murray, they're going to be physical, they're going to play hard. And I thought we met them at that point and surpassed them at the end there. And that was a great play we made. We talk about all this discipline on defense, talking on defense, toughness on defense, connecting. That was all really a great play there at the end. This is the most connected team that I've had. This is my 4th year doing this. The chemistry is great. These guys are close. We have obstacles or setbacks, and the guys just push through. We talk it out. It's a player-led team. We played some really good teams this year. Chino Hills, Oak Hills, Cajon right here, Diamond Bar. Our guys are battle-tested. I got a number of seniors that have played varsity for multiple years. Game by game, right? Game by game. This was a really tough win. We have Yucaipa on Thursday. We enjoy this, and we got to get ready. Yucaipa is going to be physical. Beaumont's going to be physical. The CBL, it's a tough stretch right here. Yeah, 2 years ago, in fact, 2 of our better players, Dario Balmontes and Damaje Moore, were both starters on that team. We won the CBL in 24.
Inland Sports.
Man, Coach Aranda really doing a good job at Redlands East Valley. We're not surprised. He does that every single year, but this is a really good team for the Wildcats. Again, if you win 18 of your first 21 games on the season, you are doing something right. So congrats on the Wildcats on that big win against Cajon. Now, we had a bonus Bass Athletics Play of the Week because that was a great finish between the Wildcats and the Cowboys, but we had already picked one because it was a huge win for Santiago boys basketball on the road at Roosevelt. Now, before we show you some of the highlights from that game, remember, Johnny Dukes took over for the great Steven Singleton. We had Coach Dukes on the Inland Sports Show right before the season began when he took over the program. And he said, listen, there is talent in the program, but this is kind of like a rebuild job. There's a lot of young players that have to kind of grow into those significant major roles. This is not the same team, Roosevelt team, that went out and won the CIF Open Division State Championship from a year ago. This is a very different team. Do they got talent? Yes, but they are very young, and they're looking for guys to step up in some of those starring roles. So Coach Dukes said that on the show before the season even began. So Roosevelt is just fine. They're going to be in good shape. Coach Dukes is a great coach. He did some wonderful things at the Rancho Verde High School. They're going to be okay, but Coach Castillo and the Sharks, they are also having a fantastic season. In fact, they're 20-3 overall on the year, and they beat Roosevelt at Roosevelt. They beat Roosevelt for the first time in 13 seasons, and this was also a Bass Athletics Play of the Week.
Inland Sports.
Let's take it to ERHS. Santiago on the road taking on the Mustangs. It was tied at 34 in the third quarter when the Sharks got some really big baskets at the end of the third quarter and going into the fourth quarter. They did a great job to pull away in this one, get a little bit of separation, and that would be the difference. There is Ethan Wadman, number 1. He had a huge game. He dropped 25 on the Mustangs. He hit some big-time threes in that game. So a little bit of separation there. They went up by 10, then it spilled into the fourth quarter, and the Sharks would hold on to that lead. The final score in this one would be 70-63, but really the end of the third quarter and those big-time baskets by Wadman, that was the difference in this game. Gave Santiago the lead, and they held on to the lead, and that was a Bass Athletics Play of the Week. So congratulations to Coach Castillo and the Sharks going on the road and beating Roosevelt. They're going to take on Centennial soon, so that's going to be another big game. The Huskies are up to their old tricks with Coach Josh Giles winning a lot of games as well, as you might suspect. All right, well, speaking of winning a lot of games, are you keeping tabs on the Elsinore Tigers? The Elsinore boys basketball team is 19-0 on the season. They have never lost this season, 19-0, undefeated on the year. They were 2-0 in Mountain Pass League play. Their rival, Temescal Canyon, was also 2-0 in Mountain Pass League play. The two teams went head-to-head on Tuesday night in a Ken Sporting Goods must-see game. Oh, it was all Tigers in this one. 84-53 would be the final score as Elsinore moves to 19-0 on the year. And they led by 14 at halftime, and then in the third quarter, they would outscore Temescal Canyon by a score of 25-10, and that would be it. That would be too much of a hole for the Titans to battle out of. So Elsinore, 19-0, first place in the Mountain Pass League, and working on that undefeated season. It was a Ken Sporting Goods must-see game. Huge win for Elsinore as they keep the undefeated season intact. All right, we're going to go from Elsinore and being undefeated right now to the Winter Holy War. It was Saturday night, Notre Dame taking on Aquinas, and it was a pretty cool deal. So it was the Falcons and the Titans, of course, a big-time rivalry here in the Inland Empire, and they played all the winter sports. Girls water polo, boys and girls soccer, wrestling, boys and girls basketball, all back-to-back, and Notre Dame was the host school. It was all capped off with a Saturday night 8 p.m. tip-off between Aquinas and Notre Dame boys basketball, the Winter Holy War, and it was Aquinas going on to the victory, 85-52, the final score in this one, as the Falcons improved to 10-9 on the season. And remember, they're not in the same league, so this is not an Ambassador League game like it used to be, so they're in separate leagues now. The Notre Dame Titans are in the Arrowhead Athletic Conference, Aquinas in the Ambassador League, of course, but still always getting together for that Holy War. And I'm hoping they're going to get together again in football sometime soon. During the game, at halftime of that boys basketball game, they introduced Derrick Johnson as the new head coach at Notre Dame. I guess new, as he's new again. He's going to run it back. He was the head coach about 10 years ago, led them to a CIF championship. Well, they officially introduced him and a new athletic director from Rim of the World at Notre Dame during halftime of the boys basketball game. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a very quick break here on the Inland Sports Show. When we come back, we will transition to some football talk, and we're going to hear from Derrick Johnson, the head football coach at Notre Dame, again on why he decided to run it back with the Titans and why now, and what's it going to take to restore Notre Dame to its glory days and its winning ways. So we'll hear from Coach Johnson, and when we come back, we're also going to hear from Jaden Daniels, the former Cajon High School quarterback, had his exit interview with the Washington Commanders to wrap up the season. Of course, did not go as planned. He had several injuries that slowed him down, and the team just did not play as well as last year in which they went to the NFC Championship game. So we're going to hear from Jaden Daniels as well when we come back here on the Inland Sports Show right after this.
The Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Ken Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Bass Athletics in Corona, driven by passion and hard work, Bass Athletics helps student athletes push their limits, compete with heart, and build the discipline to succeed in sports, school, and life. Visit bassathletics.com. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands with Dr. Marcus Paulson. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist that you can trust. And Chick-fil-A in Yucaipa, right off the 10 freeway at Yucaipa Boulevard. Eat more chicken.
Things I would never do as a strength and conditioning coach is work with thousands of athletes over the past 10 years. Number one, I'm never going to overemphasize talent. When we have a lot of talent early on, oftentimes it masks poor work ethic, bad attitude, and masks bad academics. Whereas if you continue to work on those elements, you continue to build your talent, you could peak at the right moment. We don't focus on talent here. We're looking for hardworking athletes. Number two, I'm never going to rely on fancy equipment. I've done a lot with a little when it comes to my student athletes. Surround these young student athletes with too much fancy stuff, they start to think that athletic development is outside of themselves, right? It's not intrinsic anymore. I need to have this in order to get better. I need to have that. When the reality is, all you really need to have is a hunger. You really need to have heart that you're going to get up every single day and put the work in, and the results are going to be there. Number three, I'm never going to skip the fundamentals. When my student athletes work on the same things over and over and over again, you're not going to master something at 12, 13, 14 years old, right? It's a process, it's development. We want to make sure that when they are 17, 18, 19, that they're going to get all the benefits from the repetition that we did early on. When you skip the fundamentals, student athletes lose out on the development.
All right, welcome back to the Inland Sports Show, live and amplified here on Wednesday night. Let's talk some local football. We mentioned it in the first segment that at halftime of the Winter Holy War, the boys basketball game between Aquinas and Notre Dame, they introduced Notre Dame's new head football coach, Derrick Johnson, who I guess you could say he's new. Again, he's coming back for a second run with Notre Dame. He went to Notre Dame. He's an alum, and then he coached them for 4 seasons, got them to the playoffs 3 different times. They won the 2015 CIF Southern Section Northwest Division Championship. That was obviously his best season at Notre Dame, but they were very good when he was there each of those seasons. But 2015, beating Linfield Christian, not only in league play, but then they had to beat Linfield Christian at Temecula Valley High School in that CIF championship game. That's a video there of when they won the title. But can he do it again? I mean, Notre Dame has only won, I think it was 3 games in the past 5 seasons. I have to go back and double check that, but I think after COVID, they've only won 3 games. So can Coach Johnson do it all over again? Our guy Jacob Pedroza, who has been reporting for the Inland Sports Show and Sports Weekly all football season. He's a football guy, caught up with Coach Johnson at the Winter Holy War to talk about taking over the program and, again, trying to restore Notre Dame to its winning ways. They won when he was there. Can he do it all over again and run it back with the Titans?
Inland Sports.
I'm here with the new head football coach of the Notre Dame Titans, Derrick Johnson. What's your emotions like right now as, you know, you got introduced at halftime to become the head coach once again?
It's a great feeling to come back home to my alma mater. And, this is the place that sharpened me, strengthened every skill set I had. And, to come back and see these boys, it's exciting to come back and walk these halls and be able to come back and coach here at Notre Dame.
And why was now the perfect time to come back?
There's been a couple unsuccessful seasons I've been watching from afar. I knew what type of work it took to get it to the point in where it was, winning a CIF title and building the school morale and winning football games. And just to watch what's happened over the last couple of years has made me want to come back.
And then lastly, what do you think you're going to have to instill in this team to bring back a championship to Notre Dame?
We're going to have to teach them how to win. We're going to have to take it one day at a time. We're going to have to bond as a football team. We're going to have to get in the weight room. We're going to have to figure out what this team culture and identity wants to look like now and what we want it to look like in the future. So right now it's straight from rock bottom, square one. We're going to get in the weight room and we're going to build some mental toughness through that.
Okay, sweet. Thank you, Coach, for your time.
Thank you.
Inland Sports.
All right, good stuff, Coach, and great job, Jacob, for catching up with Coach Johnson for that interview. In fact, we were trying to get Coach Johnson on the show tonight, a live interview on the show. I think he's actually in Oklahoma right now, taking his son, Derrick Jr., who's going to play for the Oklahoma Sooners. He was dropping him off at college, I believe, but we were trying to sneak him on. But hopefully we can get a longer interview with Coach sometime soon here on the Inland Sports Show. Love to just dive a little bit deeper, and talk about what he remembers from his first run with Notre Dame, and really, go into the weeds a little bit more on what it's going to take to get Notre Dame back to its winning ways. I mean, they've had a hard time the last 5 seasons. It's going to be a major rebuild, but if there's a guy that can do it, it's Coach Johnson. So we'll try to get him on the show sometime soon for a longer interview. All right, well, former Cajon High School football star Jaden Daniels, the starting quarterback for the Washington Commanders, was banged up this year. I mean, the knee injury, the hamstring injury, he missed a lot of games. And for the Commanders as a team, they went to the NFC Championship game last season, so they had huge hopes. This year just did not pan out. But Jaden is the hardest worker out there. He is going to come back better than ever. And Washington still has a lot of talent. And when you got the quarterback and the coach right, which Washington does, they're going to be a threat. So I know Jaden's going to have a monster year number 3 in the NFL this upcoming season. But as most NFL teams do, they have these exit interviews where they catch up with the players and the head coach. They talk about how the season went and what they're looking forward to next season. Well, Jaden had that, and he also talked to the media on his way out for the season with Washington, talking about how the season went and trying to bounce back from an injury-plagued year number 2 with the Washington Commanders. Here's Jaden Daniels, the pride of Cajon High School.
Inland Sports.
Yeah, I think as a competitor, you don't want to have a locker room clean out this early. You want to be in the dance. So there's definitely motivation for next year, but that's just not how the cards were dealt this year was. I mean, every season's different. It's a new year every year. You got to go out and put in the same work, and, when it started off season, everybody be 0-0. And so, I mean, that's kind of the focus for me in this off season. Is just rebuilding myself from the ground up, and hopefully go out there, and that's the most important thing, to be available for my team. Kind of just take some time away and just focus on my mental, focus on everything else, and spend time with my loved ones while also working out and figure out those spaces I need to grow in. I think you just get a different perspective watching the games, and you understand the importance of each and every play, how important each play are in the game. You only get 65 plays max. I think that's kind of what the average is. So you kind of just see the importance of each and every play. You kind of learn from a different perspective. Man, it just shows how much I really love the game, the passion, and you can't take no moment for granted, no play, nothing, because there's maybe you go into a game and I kind of feel bad later in the season. It's probably some games that kids first time come to see me play, I'm not out there to play, so they had to go in hopes to see me play. So you kind of take that motivation into next year. It's like, okay, I want to be available for every play, every game. I think you always grow and mature. The best ability for myself is availability, so I can go out there and showcase my God-given abilities. And if I'm not out there, then I'm kind of hurting the team, and my number one job is to protect the team.
Inland Sports.
All right, good stuff from Jaden Daniels, the one and only. And maybe we'll see him come back home this offseason, get some work in as he gets ready for the upcoming season. All right, well, if you like NFL football, every Monday and Thursday morning, I join Patrick in the morning on KCAL 96.7 FM. We talk a lot of NFL football. We also mix in some college football, especially now that we're in the playoffs and going to the national championship game coming up. Here is just a sliver, a sample of our sports segment on KCAL 96.7 FM from this past Monday with Patrick in the morning.
Inland Sports.
It was an incredible weekend of football. Let's start in the NFC. We saw the Rams go on the road. They drove down late. They scored. They beat Carolina 34-31. Then we saw the 49ers on Sunday. Actually, they scored late, and then the defense, I feel like for the first time this season, came up with a stop when they needed to make a stop as they beat the Eagles 23-19. And in the final NFC game, it was the Bears with a comeback for the ages. 25 points in the fourth quarter to beat rival Green Bay 31-27. Man, the NFC was absolutely nuts this weekend.
Yes. Do we need to check in on Chicago to see if all the fans are alive?
Oh my gosh, man. It's been a long time, right, since the Bears have been relevant or this good. And to be honest, I didn't think they were going to win. I was going with basically all the road teams in this wild card round. It's going to be number 1 and undefeated Indiana against Miami next Monday night in Miami. So it's a home game, I guess you could say, for the Hurricanes in this one. Both teams picking up wins in the semifinals. The Fiesta Bowl, Miami edging out Ole Miss 31-27. But in the Peach Bowl, man, Indiana absolutely thumped Oregon 56-22. Wasn't even really that close. 56-22. Indiana is that good. And I told you last week, they don't have to convince me anymore. Indiana is legit. Not just their quarterback, but the whole team, man. They do everything well.
They really do, man. And for some reason, I keep doubting them, and they keep showing me. You know what they say, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. I think you're right. We do need to believe Indiana, but I did pick Miami. And I do think talent-wise, they're up there, especially with the defense. I got to pick Miami on this one.
All right, Patrick, I am going to help build some credit for you, because think about this. Miami in the playoffs, just in the playoffs, they had to go on the road. They had to beat Texas A&M, Ohio State, and then Ole Miss. Like, think about that. Those 3 teams in a row just to get to this national championship game. So I know Indiana is going to be the heavy favorite, but you cannot take away what Miami did just to get to this point, man. 3 really good teams they had to get past.
Inland Sports.
All right, join us every Monday and Thursday morning on KCAL 96.7 FM, talking a lot of NFL football. So if you're watching us live on a Wednesday night, I'll be on tomorrow morning, and we will break down the NFL divisional round of the playoffs, probably mix in some college football as well, as we normally do. All right, we're going to take another quick break here on the Inland Sports Show. When we come back tonight, La Sierra University women's flag football. That's next on the Inland Sports Show right after this.
The Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Ken Sporting Goods in Norco, number 1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and letterman's jackets. Bass Athletics in Corona, driven by passion and hard work, Bass Athletics helps student athletes push their limits, compete with heart, and build the discipline to succeed in sports, school, and life. Visit bassathletics.com. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands with Dr. Marcus Paulson. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist that you can trust. And Chick-fil-A in Yucaipa, right off the 10 freeway at Yucaipa Boulevard. Eat more chicken.
academics are always going to take you further. I don't think you can go into any of these organizations that are trying to help you reach your goal in terms of going to high school and being a starter, or going to college, being a collegiate athlete, without having academics first. And if you don't have that, if you're focused on surely your talent, then you're blowing a whole opportunity, a whole side of this whole development thing. You're missing the point. If you're not prioritizing that first, then you're basically prioritizing being a 5-star. And there ain't that many 5-stars out there. That's just the way it is. So if you want to become a high achieving student athlete, if you want the best possibility to play in college, you need to start with academics. That's just it.
All right, welcome back to the Inland Sports Show. Right now, we're going to turn our attention to women's flag football. La Sierra University in Riverside has a women's flag football team. They will open up their inaugural season later this month. In fact, they're going to take on the University of Redland. So an all-local battle to open up this season. I think it's January 28th. In Riverside. We caught up with the Eagles to talk about the inaugural season, recruiting, how do they go out there and find players? Because there's a lot of good talent out there in the IE. Plus, now that it's a CIF sport, a lot of these players are getting some good experience at the high school level before they get to La Sierra University or whatever college team they play. So without further ado, here is La Sierra University women's flag football on the Inland Sports Show.
Inland Sports.
And now join us here on the Inland Sports Show from La Sierra University, the inaugural women's flag football team getting set to start their season. Brianne Talboom, the head coach of the Eagles, and Grace Galdamez, one of her star players going into this season. And Coach, we talked, I think it was like last summer maybe, about the anticipation of the first year, and it seemed like it was so far off in the distance. But here we are. You guys have your first game later this month. How excited are you just to get the season going?
Yeah, I'm super pumped, and it has flown by. I cannot believe that we're almost going to be kicking off for our inaugural season officially here at the end of the month. It's been a lot of fun. We've been able to recruit some really top talent, like you mentioned, Grace sitting next to me here, and it's just going to be so fun to actually see them in the field and playing some top competition as we go through.
Coach, in the weeks and the months leading up to, the inaugural season and the first games of the year, how much, did you have a chance to scrimmage other teams? How much was just like teaching basics? I'm assuming you're getting, student athletes into LSU with, they've played in high school now because it's really popping off at the high school, the CIF level. How much preparation, how much basics do you have to teach in the weeks leading up to those first games for the players that you have on campus?
Yeah, the sport's really growing, which has been very helpful for us as coaches because they're already being taught some of the basics that they absolutely need to know, and even more depending on clubs and high schools that they've been at. So we've really tried to target some of the top clubs in the area, as well as those high schools where we know and trust those coaches to help us in our, recruitment. And so, again, we've been able to, choose certain student athletes that are obviously the right fit for our program, not only athletically, but also we talk a lot about academics and all the other pieces that go with being a student athlete. And similar to Grace here, we've been lucky enough that she took a chance on us and has come in and I think really is going to elevate our program. And again, to answer your question, yes, we definitely start with the basics and just to make sure everybody's on the same page and understanding our system and what we want to do, and then get more into the team concepts and definitely looking to play some top talent. And so we scrimmaged actually before we went on winter break with one of the top talented teams here in Southern California, just to get a kind of gauge of where we're at. And we take that information, we're watching film, and we're just going to get ready to go as we prepare again for that first kickoff on the 28th.
All right, Coach, I'm just curious, that scrimmage, did you like what you saw?
You know what? I think that we were a little nervous when we came out, to be completely honest. We have 23 freshmen and 1 transfer sophomore. So it was understandable. I think that we have an entire season to go out and really show what I get to see every day in and out of practice. And these athletes are stellar athletes. They know what they're doing. They absolutely are going to compete. I am super pumped to see them. And I think we're going to go, we're going to be a competitive program. And these athletes are really going to put our name out there. And so I think once we get those jitters out and we really get going, we're going to see a completely different team.
All right, Coach, this question is going to be for Grace. And Grace, I'm just curious, how did you first get introduced to girls flag football? I know you played at Western Christian in Upland, right? So how did you first start in the sport? And at what point did you think, you know what, maybe I can play in college. Maybe I can continue this.
When I was little, I've always wanted to play football or get into football, but it never really happened because I was a soccer player. I played soccer for at least 13 years, 12 years of my life. And even in high school, I started off playing soccer. I went to school for soccer. And then they just started talking, this little whispering here and there about, hey, flag football, would you be interested? I was like, heck yes, bring it. And it was perfect because it'd be in the spring, not in the winter, so I could be a multi-athlete. And luckily it happened my senior year of high school. Blessed I got the opportunity to do it. My coach, his name is Chris Estrada. He's also a club coach. I also went to his club, bless his soul. I love him so much, and I played for another club team called SoCal Reign.
So do you feel like, even though you have some experience, do you feel like there's still a lot of, room to grow, things that you're still learning and ways that you can still be a better player?
Yes, for sure. There's always room for growth. I believe that.
And how excited are you for the first games of the year? I mean, at the time of this interview, we're 2 weeks away, I think, or something like that?
Yeah, we're very close. I honestly can't wait. But like you said, that like my coach said, it's the jitters. Sometimes everybody's nervous. We're still learning how to play together and against a different opponent. Right now, we're just playing with each other. We kind of cheated sometimes, so we want to get out and actually play against other teams and just crush it. We're doing really fine. We're doing really good right now, especially after this break. But yeah.
Coach, let me go back to you for this one. Through those non-conference games, of course you play to win every single game, but is that a time to kind of see where you guys might be strong, where there's some areas that you guys need to improve on before you get to conference play? I don't know what the postseason looks like at the end of this, but can you use those non-conference games as a time to kind of grow and develop as a team?
Yeah, and I mean that's really the goal for every game. We obviously want to win. We're very competitive. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this, right? Yeah. So at the end of the day, we want to win. But to get that W, we have to do the right process and make sure we're understanding what that process is to be able to get that W. And so that's kind of the things that we're really focusing on right now. And so there may be a team that comes out that happens to be better than us that day. But you know what? We're going to learn from that, and we're going to grow and continue to compete as we go through. But I'm telling you, we have the tools to do it. We just got to get the belief that we are here. We are ready to go. And I think these women are going to really show out. I'm very excited to see how they do.
Hey, Coach, you have a lot of history, right, with flag football.
Yes, I'm old. Thanks for bringing that up, Pep. Yes, I've been, we were lucky enough to play when we were in high school in the 90s, and I've been around it for a long time. So I was able to play, I've coached, I've officiated. So I've seen it from all different levels. I'm very excited that I've had the opportunity now to be a part of the leadership for not only GSAC, but also all of flag football and NAIA. So we're creating, and looking at the rules and the awards process and just making sure that we're doing this right and making sure that it's sustainable and that it's very competitive, because we want athletes to stay within the NAIA because we think it is a great program and a place where student athletes can get great degrees and also really play at a competitive level.
And correct me if I'm wrong, like NAIA or some of these, smaller Division III private schools, they're at the forefront. You guys are kind of like pioneers, right? For at least at the collegiate level, right? For women's flag football.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're really lucky that La Sierra University, took a chance on this and believed in the program. We're seeing that the student athletes that we're bringing in, that we're being able to retain them. They're having a great student athlete experience, as well as just being students in general. I think they're enjoying their classes. And we just went over and congratulated, I believe, more than half of our team had a 3.0 GPA or above. I mean, they're doing well, not just on the field, but also in the classroom. And then we always talk about that championship mindset and being champions of character. So these athletes are bringing a lot to the institution, and we can't wait to use flag football as a catalyst to really bring visibility to La Sierra University and the NAIA as a whole. And kudos again to NAIA and jumping in and believing in flag football for women and seeing how much it's grown. And now we have the Olympics coming. And again, Grace is sitting next to me, and she had an opportunity to go and play in China. I mean, it's just, these opportunities are going to be wonderful, and they're going to continue to go. And I'm hoping that we're going to see a pro sitting next to us pretty soon. So we'll see.
Might be Grace. But Grace, I got to ask you then, you played in China?
Yeah, I played for an American Samoa team out in China. It was a really, really great experience. I played with some of my teammates also here that go to La Sierra. It was really a great experience. I loved it a lot.
So was it kind of like a trip to, be an ambassador for the sport, or what was that trip about?
It was like a national team to get into Worlds. World is a little bit like bigger, so it's like a bunch of teams from different types of countries like India, China, Japan, Samoa, and stuff like that. So it was just like a big tournament to see who would go to Worlds. You would have to get first or second to go to Worlds. Luckily, our boys made it to Worlds.
All right, Grace, finally, what was your favorite memory that you made on that trip? What's something that you'll always remember?
I mean, it is a lot, but I mean, my favorite memory of it all is just getting to play in China, getting to see all these people, getting to meet a bunch of people, playing with a bunch of people. Even though we didn't make it, I still had the time of my life. I mean, I was in a different country, different people, different food. It's just all very memorable, and it was just amazing. I loved it.
That's awesome. What a cool experience. And Coach, let me finish up with you. I don't know if you guys have a motto or a battle cry, going into this season. I know for any inaugural team, it's, you're setting the bar for and laying that foundation for future teams. But is there any sort of like reoccurring message that you guys have, or like I said, like a motto or something going into the year, being this year number one for the team?
I think there's so many things that we're talking about that we still need to really identify that one word that's going to start that engine and make sure that we're all on the same page. But I really want to instill the belief that these student athletes are just as capable as the other programs that have been going on for numerous years. And I think that coming out in this inaugural year, they have the tools and capability, as long as they have that belief to really get out there, be competitive, put Southern California on the map, put NAIA on the map, put La Sierra University on the map, and then themselves get those NIL deals, get out there, let Team USA know that we're here, we're producing athletes, and let's get out there and just have a lot of fun playing flag football. I mean, it's just the beginning, and people like you, Pep, we really thank you for giving us a spotlight and a few minutes to talk about flag football and making sure that people don't forget that we're here and we're ready to go.
Yeah, these opportunities, they're increasing so much. Like you're talking about Team USA and professional careers, and playing at the college level, like what Grace is doing right here at La Sierra University. I mean, I don't know, what 5-10 years ago was that even a possibility?
No, I don't think so, unfortunately. But I mean, it is going to take over. We are seeing it happen, and it's just really, really exciting. So stay tuned for sure.
All right, that is Coach Talboom, Grace Galdamez from La Sierra University women's flag football here on the Inland Sports Show. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Inland Sports.
Good luck to Coach Talboom, Grace, and the Eagles this season, opening up their inaugural season coming up later this month. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Inland Sports Show. If you are down with the Inland Empire, you love local sports, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate it. We're on social media as well. Instagram and X quite a bit, Facebook a little bit, and of course right here on the YouTube channel. My name is Pep Fernandez. God bless you guys, and we'll see you next time on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show. Good night.